And I am live now, apparently. Okay, so we'll see if anyone hops in here on the chat. And for anyone watching, we have coffee. Whiskey. This is about this much whiskey, and I filled it to the brim the rest of the way with seltzer water. So, no, I'm not drinking pure whiskey like this. But I'm not drinking an entire quart jar of whiskey. that would be a feat. So we're going to, like I said, I'm gonna wait for a minute, see if anyone pops in real quick. And then I'm gonna kind of go on the few tirades that I had planned on doing, and these are things that I had been making videos of, but have not uploaded because I don't know why. I can go live just fine, but I have issues. It just takes forever to upload anything. But I'm really not sure what the title, other than the fact that I am drinking both whiskey and coffee. I'm not entirely sure what the title has to do with much. But yeah, so I've got 3 people here viewing. But so folks, we need more time with good coffee and good whiskey. And for anyone who's interested, Death Wish coffee and 10 cup whiskey with seltzer. And dog, what in the world are you after? I've got an old dead tree down there, and that dog is gnawing at it and trying to get at something. So there is something beside of me that I'm not allowed to show on a live stream that might get shown on a live stream here in a minute, or might get you might hear it audibly depending on what it is that she is trying to roust out from under that old dead tree. But no one needs to know about that. We will see. But we need more time. Here I am. I'm sitting on my porch. It's Saturday evening. I've just had a fantastic day with my wife and some of my wife's family. And I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying my good coffee. And listening to the sounds of everything, nature around me, the birds and the crickets. The cicadas probably won't be too much longer before I think the 17-year cicadas are supposed to come out here in the next day or two. That's what I've been told right now. I know it's a good thing when they do come out because my chickens eat for free. When they do show up, my chickens get some free food. I don't have to do a thing with that. Um, and so I'm looking forward to that. Or somebody's cow. But we need more front porch time. Honestly, we do. And folks, the world is falling apart around us. It is to me. Um, the world is falling apart. There's just no way around it. Society is starting to crumble. Our dollar is losing value. Things are becoming more scarce, and things are becoming um, more expensive just because of one, your money's worth less. Two, there are supply chain issues, so supply and demand. And three, people are taking advantage of that, of those of one and two, and are increasing the price to, stick it to the consumer and make a little bit of extra profit. That's just, I mean, that's just business, I guess. That's crooked business, and that's not the way that I would run a business. But that's just what they're doing. Um, we are going to take a break from the bourbon because I still have a live stream to conduct. um, but the world is falling apart, and there's just no way around it. The America that we once had, I don't think it exists anymore. This change has been quick, and it's a cultural change too. In some ways, um, it is a cultural change. Bug of some sort. Like, I've just been recently at a few stores here and there. Um, people people are just pissed off. People are very, very short tempered right now. Some people are. I mean, me. I'm not. Um, I'm I'm actually I'm in a better place mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever. I'm in a better place now than I have been in many, many years. I'm a lot happier, and I'm a lot calmer, a lot happier, and just a lot better off than I have been in the past. And I don't know. And it's not because things are falling apart that I'm like this, but I think for me, it's because the people that I care about directly are seeing what I've been seeing for the past forever. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I honestly I don't know when I became switched on. I always remember being at least interested in what I didn't know but at the time, like I didn't know it at the time, but what was preparedness related things. Like I've always been interested in growing food, and growing up, we always grew food, and we always hunted for food, and we always had cattle or goats or some kind of a livestock, chickens, and we always grew our own garden. We always raised something. Yeah, some kind of animal, albeit in most cases, most often it was just chickens. And that's what I've got right now. I've got chickens. I don't have anything else, livestock wise. I've got birds, and they're very simple, and there's nothing wrong with having birds. It's a place to start. But I think that why I'm part of why I'm in such a better place than I used to be is because the people that I care about have opened their eyes and seen what I've seen for most of my life. Um, Ever since I was able to know bad things were out there, like I can remember, mm, I was a child when the Y2K thing happened. Like I was like second grade ish. Like I really don't remember. I was like first to third grade, somewhere in there. Um, but I do remember the panic that people had with Y2K. And I remember asking my dad, what is Y2K? Like, what are people freaking out about? Like, I didn't say that, but exactly that way. But I said something to that effect. Like, why are people freaking out about all this? Like what's going to happen? What is it? And, my dad explained it to me that, well, son, people think that there's something in computers that when the year 2000 hits, then the computers are all going to stop working. And so everything that's run on computers are not going to, work. And then I said, okay, mind you, I'm a child. And, and I was like, well, what does this do other than computers don't work? And my dad explained to me that, traffic lights and all these other things that are controlled by computers. And he said, but here's the thing. They're freaking out. And then what he said is like, they're freaking out. But, and I don't think he used the words freaking out at the time, but, they're getting all worried. But, we've got our property and we grow a garden and we've got blackberries on the hill and apples and things that grow in the woods, and we have whatever goats and chickens, and I don't remember what all we had at the time. Whatever animals at the time that we had, and we can hunt, and and that was how he explained it to me. That people were freaking out, and so I've always been a little bit different. I've always been a little bit switched on. And my wife will, if she was here right now, she would say, different is an understatement. Um, Let me grab this thing. Hmm, let's see. was a little bright. It was a little bright for me. I don't have a good spot to put it out, do I? Alright, so you're all just going to have to not watch me, which some people would argue is a good thing. But I'm trying, people. I'm trying. But anyway, so I was informed that that was my instructions on Y2K and what it was and what could potentially come of it. I think that helped a little bit better. Moving it over. I'll mind you, I'm just get that. But yeah. But everyone's freaking out right now, and I'm not. And it's not that I don't know what's happening. It's not that I don't know that our society is crumbling and then all these things are happening. Like I said, I'm in a better place mentally than I have been in a while. This past year has been very good for me mentally. It just has. And I'm one of the few people in this world probably that can actually say that. And it really has been because it's caused my family to wake up. And I have friends that I was in the military with, and they've been switched on too. I don't know when they were officially switched on, but they were switched on when I met them. And I've got friends like that they've been switched on for so long, but nobody in their family is. They're just not. And I can't imagine. Well, I can. Because I've lived it. My wife, bless her heart, rest. That she just, when we first got married, she was not switched on at all. She was always socially and economically more or less conservative. She always has been, since I've met her, and married her. And honestly, if she wasn't, I would not have married her. If she was not a more or less conservative Christian individual, I would have never married her. But she was anti-gun, I would not have married her. It was not going to happen. But as far as what's happening in the world, she hasn't been turned on until really this year is what really did it for her. She would go along more or less with my craziness of prepping. She would go along with it kinda, and like you can do that as your hobby, and you can do that. As long as it doesn't, you're not buying, stupid stuff. You can go do that. And I won't go, any guff, and so that was fine. I guess, and it was a struggle. I won't lie, it was a struggle. And now my wife is switched on, and I think that's what's been good for me. I love my wife to death. I love her more now. We are working on our 8th year of marriage. Mother's Day is coming up, and that's always a rough time for her. But I love her to death. I love my wife. Mother's Day is tomorrow, and Mother's Day is always a rough time for my wife. It's a rough time for me too, but it's really like Father's Day is a really rough time for me too. Just because of what's happened in our lives. And I don't share that a lot. I really don't share what's happened in our life as far as why Mother's Day and Father's Day are very difficult for us. I don't share that overly often, and I don't know that I've ever gone through and shared the entire thing on YouTube, and I don't plan on it at this moment either. But so things are things are rough in that regard. But for just this time, this couple of days, but our lives are, they've improved. Overall, this mess, we're more of a team now. And folks, I'm not bragging. It's just me kind of rambling on ways that the Father has been good to me, to be honest. People are having these, I see all these people and man, they're mad and they're bitter and angry and about what's going on in life. And man, I can't see my kids and I can't see my grandkids because of this pandemic, and I can't do this and I can't do that. Man, why not? Go do it. Folks, my life has gotten so much better because of this pandemic and people waking up. It really has. I'm not in any better financial shape than I was. I'm not. I mean, I'm in better financial shape because I'm, accruing assets, and I'm in better shape because I'm accruing assets. I'm accruing material goods. But I'm not making any more money. I was in a lower tax bracket this year because of being laid off as much as I was. But I'm better. And it's because I didn't let this thing put me down. I didn't let this pandemic overall. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can go through some of the videos that I put up this year, or this past, deal, and some of them are probably pretty dark. Just where I was at that moment. But overall, my year has been, and since all this mess has happened, my life has gotten better. Not financially, but better in just relationship wise. And I am out of coffee now. So I'm going to have to go and get more coffee so I can continue this conversation with y'all, or anyone who's going to come later and listen. But I will go get coffee. I will be gone like 20 seconds and I will be back. There we be. Back. Oh. But I'm just, and here is something that I have done. I haven't let it affect, really, I haven't truly let it affect my interaction with humans. I haven't. Like, I still shake people's hands. I still, hey, how are you doing? I still, talk to people. The mask mandate, I guess, in West Virginia is over officially in like the 20th of June, or whatever. Um, the mask mandate for me ended a long time ago, a lot longer ago than June in the future. Like, I have not adhered hardly at all to this thing because you know what? It's bogus. I think it's bogus. Um, that's my opinion. You can have your own opinion. I just dealt with somebody the last day or two that was like, "Oh wait, I need my mask," and before we're dealing like, that's not at a business. I mean, it's his business, but it was more the fact like he's like, "Don't worry, I mean, I'm vaccinated." Like, okay, buddy. Like you are. I'm thinking like you and of course of course he was a real space cadet. I'll be honest with you. I mean, he seemed like a nice enough guy. He's a space cadet. Um, but that's it is what it is. It is what it is. And you're welcome to your opinion, your belief. Like I'm not gonna say that you should be silenced because you have a different set of beliefs than me and a different opinion than me. Like we can talk about our opinions all day long, and we can put facts and here's the facts that I've got. What facts you got? I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Um, but it just is what it is. But it was just weird because so many people where I work, nobody wears masks anymore. The boss does. The boss has an official policy that we wear masks, but we don't wear masks. And nobody says anything. We're a small company. Folks, nobody cares. We're a fab shop. Um, I'm breathing in a lot worse things than COVID on a regular basis. But that's a different story for a different day. I'm going to get me old pinch of my back off original right here. because I hadn't been rubbing snuff, like tobacco snuff, for almost 2 years now. But there ain't a day goes by that I don't want to go open the can seal, put a big old pinch in, and just sit back and enjoy it. There's not a day goes by that I don't miss it. And that's the truth. But so Friday, and this is something I think we all should be doing to some degree or another. Friday, I brought in a crock pot full of my homemade chili. And I brought it in to my coworkers. Now, mind you, I work for a small company, less than 20 people on the floor. And not everybody was interested in it. Not everybody came in and got a bowl, and that's fine too. And it's a good thing too, because we didn't really have any leftovers. I had a bowl left over. That was enough for a bowl that I got as leftovers today. And I ate that leftover bowl today. But I'm making up a big old crock pot full of chili for Thursday night. I asked the guys earlier. I said, "Hey, do y'all want some chili?" Well, I brought in chili. Would y'all eat it? And most people, they said, "Yeah, yeah. If you don't make it too hot, we'll eat it." And so, just I wanted to make some chili. I wanted to eat chili. My wife doesn't really like it. When I make chili, she doesn't really like chili. And because I don't make it right, in her opinion. I make it too spicy. But she doesn't really like chili, and she doesn't like mine, so I don't make it on a regular basis. I'm the only one that's going to be eating it. And so I decided, well, I'll just bring it into work. I'll make a big old crock pot full of chili and bring it into work. And we fed 8 people very well. And just that one crock pot full of chili, and everybody loved it. Everybody liked it. Everybody was grateful for it. They said, "Thank you for lunch." It didn't cost me a lot of money. And I'm that improved friendships. I'm not saying I'm buying friends or anything like that, but there's something about a big old crock pot full of food that tends to just put people in a good mood. It tends to make people happy. When you got a big old crock pot full of good food, it tends to make people feel better. And that's what I think we need. We need to be doing stuff like that. Invite your friends that you haven't seen because of the pandemic. Invite them over for dinner. Like, don't be isolating yourself. Invite them over for dinner. Or invite them out to dinner. I don't care. I don't care what you do. If you don't feel like cooking, invite them to a small local restaurant, like a locally owned restaurant. Invite them out for dinner there. Like, someone on 4-wheeler or a quad, I'd say. Sounded more like a 4-wheeler to me. that's kind of people's preferred method of getting around out here. Four-wheelers, quads, dirt bikes. But anyway, all very legal. All very legal on public roads. They ain't no gonna stop them. They ain't no gonna say nothing. Um, but anyway. Or if you don't want to do food, invite your neighbors over for a cup of coffee. Let them sit on your front porch. Have a little front porch sitting. Have a cookout, have a bonfire. I don't care. I don't care what you do, but we need to be getting together again. Those of us, people that stopped, we need to be getting back together with people, forming new relationships, strengthening old relationships. You need to be getting back together and working on that. Yeah, you just do. How was that one? But we need to be getting back together again. And like I said, I never really stopped. I get together with everybody that I want to get together with. And I get together with people that I don't want to get together with too. If I had any, another plus, um, West Virginia. I can say that West Virginia. Um, and oh, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I got together. I did. Made an old crock pot full of chili. Brought into my guys that I work with, and I'm gonna try and get something started there with my coworkers, where just we take turns bringing in something, or we chip in, or someone buys a bunch of hot dogs and stuff, and on lunch on Friday, just we can have something like that, and it make everybody's day go a little bit better. Nothing wrong with that there, Freedom Inc. Um, I am. I have been here in West Virginia my entire life, short of time in military service. My family has been in West Virginia since um, before it was West Virginia, and we have been here in Virginia, and we were in Virginia, in this part of Virginia, when it was still a British colony. So, well, I greatly appreciate that. I I'm a you know what you see is what you get. I mean, that's just about about the end of it. Just a good old boy trying to make it in this world. Um, but you know, and if you are, okay, so let's turn it on you. I mean, not against you, and the people don't. All right, well, you have a good one. Um, but I will check you out. Check out the channel. But if you are moving here, Freedom Inc., like you said, moving to like West Tennessee. I mean, you're gonna have to work on those relationships now. If I don't know where you're coming from, but anyone who's, especially if you're moving into those areas, and even me living in this area, um, yeah, I'm still searching for people. I'm still, I'm still out here looking for people. People don't. But yeah, and this is a problem that we didn't used to have. Our society didn't used to have this problem. Okay, good deal. Um, hey, I'm glad for you. You've got your people situated. Um, you have a good one too. Um, but but yeah, I mean, creating these relationships that didn't used to be a problem. And our, let's say, ancestors, they came together because that's what you do. You come together at church, and have, and then the church is active, and the church says, well, hey, we need to do this. Hey, the Johnsons are going to be putting up hay, this week, and the Smiths are going to be putting up hay that week, and so you all come together and you help each other put hay up, or hey, uh, they're going to be branding, castrating calves, or whatever the farming evolution would be. Hey, the Greenbergs are going to be building the barn, um, or hey, Miss Thompson, her husband just passed away. So, ladies, if you could, or Mr. Thompson, his wife just passed away, and so, ladies, if you could get together and take, you cook a meal for or for him, or and bring it in, so he's got three little ones, and so you take care of him. Like, this kind of stuff just happened organically, naturally, and we've gotten so far away. Everyone's so busy about what they're doing, um, and just where they're going, that people aren't interested in doing that, and we need to be. We need to be, and returning back to those kind of old ways. And I think we will, but I think it'll take things getting really bad out here for things to get better in that regard, for us to kind of really come together like that. I really do. I think it's gonna take that. Um, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. But I think it's going to have to get bad before we can really do that. But hard times will bring people together to some degree if you've got something commonly holding you together. Hard times, if you don't have anything holding you together, are going to drive division, bring you apart. It's like you take someone who's a big BLM protester, very much in common with the organization BLM. Um, I just don't. Well, of course, Black Lives Matter, but if Black Lives really did matter to you, you'd be talking about the problems in the Black communities that are actually killing and taking more Black lives, which, Black on Black crime, gang violence, and a lot of that is stemming from fatherlessness. Um, I mean, that's a big part of it is father not having good fathers in the home. Um, and that is, I mean, that's a big part of that. Oh goodness. Kind of thought I saw something behind me, but I don't think. It's just bugs flying around in the screen there. Um, but now I don't have anything in common with those people really. But who I do have in common with people in my church, people in my blood family, some of the people that I work with, people in this community that I live in. There's a small farming community. Well, small. It's small in population, but lots of property going up and down through here. And I mean, there's a lot of that. And we come together, um, and people look out for each other, and I mean, well, I'm going to give you an example of that. My hay, I give because I have no livestock that eats hay at this moment. At this time, I do not have livestock that eats hay. When I first moved here, we tried to cut the hay off of here, and we did to sell it, and we did, and we sold that hay, but we did not make enough money to justify hauling my equipment, well, hauling equipment back and forth from family, and we just did it was unpractical for us to do this. It made no sense, to try and cut the hay to make no more money than I actually was making off of it, selling square bales. It just wasn't worth it. So, in order to keep everything trimmed up, cleaned up, I allow, and I started with a different set of neighbors, but I allowed them to cut my hay. Well, didn't need it. So 1, 2 years, they gave, like, the people I allowed one of their neighbors, their direct neighbors, to cut my hay. They're friends and they farm together to some degree. Well, the second year, they had done the same thing with him and his property, and he had wound up being in the hospital. The guy that was going to cut that, and he also got a couple of. He was also one of the ones that he hayed on a couple of properties that are right next to mine, and so they went through, his friends and neighbors and everyone directly with him went through with their equipment and cut everyone's hay who he was allowed to cut. And everyone just jumped in, pitched in, and helped out. And and that's stuff that you get in these kind of farming communities, but you don't get really in town. And that kind of stuff was kind of a culture shock for my wife when she first moved out here because she grew up in town. And it really was a culture shock for me as well, to some degree. Because, I mean, I grew up knowing about this kind of stuff, and we had some of that. But a lot of the area that I grew up in, as I was growing up, was becoming more urban sprawl. And there were a lot of housing developments being put in. And which is why no one in my immediate family lives out there anymore. We've all found different pieces of property farther out. And if things grow up too much around here, guess what I'll be doing? I'll be selling off and moving farther out. I'll just keep doing that until I'm dead or till it goes no farther out to go. Anyway, folks, you need to be working on your relationships. You need to be trying to grow those relationships, helping each other out, just getting to know your neighbors. Like, invite your neighbors out for a cookout. Don't let this crap and this pandemic keep you from doing that kind of stuff. Don't. No. We need people. We need to be around people. We need to be building relationships, strengthening relationships for the times ahead. And I don't need a person just for if doomsday happens. Like the teotwawki. I don't need that person necessarily. I may never truly need that person. But I need someone that I can call to go feed my chickens because I'm not going to make it home until late. I do. Like, I need someone like that. I need that. I need someone that I can get together with on a Friday night and have meaningful conversations around a coffee pot. That's what we need. That's what we need. Anyway, folks, if you're coming in watching this later, I hope y'all something from this. If you watched the whole almost an hour that I have been rambling on, I appreciate you. Go ahead, leave a like, comment, subscribe, be things, all of that nonsense. I would appreciate it. Just engagement, right? I mean, let me know if you're watching what you thought of it, what your opinions are. That's fine. You can disagree with me. You can say, hey, big country, it's time not to be building relationships, and it's time to be strengthening the ones we got, and we need to circle the wagons. Like you can have that agreement. You can have that belief, and that's fine with me. Um, that's fine. I don't disagree. I don't agree with everything that everyone says, and you don't have to agree with everything I say. But y'all have a good one. I appreciate you. Have a good week out there. And take her easy. And I will, unless something changes, I plan on being back here next Saturday evening. Unless something's going on, I will be back here next Saturday evening, if not before. So y'all, excuse me, y'all take her easy. God bless.